Live from Blue Wire Studios at the Wynn in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's episode 604 of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe at Jack O'Hara TV on our YouTube channel. We got Kay McCabe in the building.
Hi.
If that is your real name. I guess we both discovered that your real name's not Kay, my real name's not Jack. So getting to know each other pretty well.
Do you want to spill the beans first?
Yeah, so my name is John Patrick O'Hara, and it's a very East Coast thing for Johns to go by Jack, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Roberts to go by Bob.
Exactly.
Okay, because like Bob Marley is really Robert Marley.
Exactly.
Okay, well, my name's kind of complicated. It's Kiaja.
I can see where you get K. That's just for short.
Yeah, my family, I grew up, it was KK. My family just called me KK. And then when I was like feeling like I was grown one day, I just shortened it
When you weren't a kid anymore.
I wasn't a
KK's
kid
not
anymore.
working for me anymore.
KK isn't it. And so I shortened it to K because people like mess up my last name all the time. And I was like, I don't want both names to be messed up. So on air, I'm just Kay McCabe.
So we both go by nicknames. I'm originally from Jersey. You lived in Secaucus for 3 months.
Yes. I mean, I love Jersey. I love Hoboken, Secaucus, but I lived
Makes one of us.
I worked in Secaucus. I lived in Manhattan. And so I worked for the NBA. I was an intern for about 3-4 months, but I lived in Manhattan and worked in Secaucus, and the commute was 1,000 years long, but it was worth it. And I made sure I was at work each day at least 30 to 45 minutes early. And it was the best summer of my life. I was 21 that year. I still had to go back to college. I went to the University of Tennessee, so go Vols. Huge sports girl over here. But yeah.
Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Atlanta.
Wow, so you bounced around all over the place then.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a military brat, too.
Yeah.
And so, but I told you this is the first time I worked in the West Coast, or lived in the West Coast, but I used to live in Wyoming. That's where my family is originally from, Wyoming. My mom was born and raised in Wyoming, so Cheyenne, the capital. So I've been everywhere. Anywhere you think I've been, I've probably been.
That's crazy. I mean, Secaucus is literally, I was telling you, the final stop right before New York Penn Station.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Right.
Going from Secaucus, New Jersey, where it's kind of a ghost town, a ghost train station anyways,
Right.
going into Manhattan where like all hell breaks loose all the time. But you really enjoyed it.
Manhattan just taught me a lot. Like I said, I was 21 when I lived there and worked there, and I was only there for a few months. But, I mean, New York's a fast-paced city. You rub elbows with everybody and all types of people, and endless opportunities. I mean, I don't think without living and working in New York, I would be here in Las Vegas today talking to you. And so New York's a great city. I think anybody who has the opportunity to move and work there definitely should.
So you going from, your family's from Wyoming, you grew up in Atlanta,
Right.
went to school in Knoxville,
Right.
University of Tennessee,
Correct.
went to Secaucus, you're in Vegas now, bounced around a few, Alabama,
Yep.
is that another state?
Yeah, I lived in and worked in Montgomery, Alabama as a reporter. That's where I started my career. And I worked there for about a year and 9 months, and then I'm here.
So do you like being on the other side, being the interviewee as opposed to the interviewer?
I know we just talked about this. It's different. It's kind of like one of my first times. It's happened before with different people, young mentors who would just wanted to,
Pick your brain.
Exactly. And so I've talked on different platforms. This is definitely the coolest. Thank you for having me. But no, I hope I do a good job.
Hey, we'll find out, right?
I know, right?
You're already off to a great start. I mean, you've interviewed a ton of people. We were talking about before we both met Magic Johnson.
Right.
Slight flex there.
Right. Magic, yeah, I met him when I first came to Vegas, did a story. He was doing his recession proof, and I talked to his assistant, and everybody was so cool. So I've definitely been blessed. Like I said, working with the NBA, I was able to, as an intern, my boss, shout out to Annette, she just loved me, and we worked so well together, and she was able to get me like right there on the floor at the draft in 2019. I was talking to Zion Williamson, John Morant, I mean, the list goes on, Kobe White, Rui Hachimura. It was a real cool experience. Got to interview them as an intern. I still have those interviews in my vault somewhere. Full circle moment, Summer League this past year here in Vegas. I got to reconnect with all those people. And so, yeah.
You usually don't, I mean, most people, I should say, don't get those opportunities as an intern to meet and collaborate with names like that.
I mean, a lot of people don't get those opportunities in their career as adults. I was 21 an intern, and my bosses at the NBA had so much trust in me And I told them, hey, my goal is one day to be on air and to report and do sports and entertainment. And so, like I said, full circle moment when Summer League came around and they saw me and I did some live shots on the court at Summer League and it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's an incredible opportunity for you. And I feel like I've talked about this with a few different reporters or people who just work in broadcast journalism. We'll call it broadcast journalism, right? You have to be aware of the opportunities that are right in front of you, or else you're going to miss them, or not necessarily get what you wanted out of them.
Right. I agree. I mentor right now. I mentor a few young college women, and I always tell them, no one's going to go get it but yourself. If you don't want it, like enough, then you're not going to get it. When I was young in college, I was interning with ESPN, the NBA, SEC Network. I was doing my due diligence to get to where I am. I even had COVID try to stop me. You know, I graduated when the pandemic hit, never got to walk across the stage. Yeah. My poor, sad story. But I chased my dreams, and even taking a news job when I'm a sports girl, it brought me to Las Vegas, and it brought me to doing things. We're sitting down talking to you, talking to Magic Johnson, you know, the list goes on. And so, yeah, when I talk to the girls I mentor, I'm just like, network, put yourself out there, meet people, talk to people, take any opportunity that comes to you. And that's going to be that. Like, you know, when you were talking to me, hey, let's do it, you know, and I'm just like, look, I'm going to do it regardless, you know, 8 a.m., 6 a.m., I'll be there. You know, I love opportunities and I love networking and putting myself out there.
So are you enjoying Vegas?
Vegas is so different than what I'm used to. I think Vegas is so cool. Obviously, I moved here for the opportunities, and, you know, I'm 24 now, to be in a city with young people. But, you know, I'm just used to what I'm used to. I'm from Atlanta. I'm a Southern girl at heart, and the West Coast is different. So I'm adjusting as far as, like, life-wise. But career-wise, Vegas is great.
I believe I think there's a lot of great opportunity out here for a lot of people, especially in like the digital content creation space with everything that you got going on.
Right. I mean, look ahead to the year. I mean, Pro Bowl's in 2 weeks. You know, Lovers and Friends, Summer League will be back, of course. Yeah. Formula One, Super Bowl next year. Yeah. I mean, what is there not to have in Vegas, right? Career-wise, if you miss out on these opportunities, it's like I feel bad for you. You know what I mean? So as far as my life, I'll be okay, you know.
Can you see yourself being here for the foreseeable future? Or are you going to go wherever your career takes you?
Yeah, I think I will probably go wherever my career takes me. I don't plan to going anywhere anytime soon, if that answers your question. I definitely want to be here for those events that I named, and working with the station I work with. I want to just be in the mix and meet as many people as possible and network as much as possible. So if I do end up going to a different platform or a higher platform, I guess you can say I can be best prepared.
How did you know that you wanted to get into reporting? Did you ever do commentary at all? Because I know, like, when I first started, because, again, I'm a sports commentator as well, doing play-by-play, and we also had a ton of females who wanted to be reporters, but they're like, start in commentary.
Yeah.
Because that was, like, the only thing available at the time.
Right. No, when my first major at college was theater. I wanted to be an actress, and maybe someday still, but I switched over very quickly after I just missed being involved with sports. I played basketball for 11 years, and that was my first love. Come from a big basketball family, and I knew I wanted to continue on working in sports. And I have a huge personality. I'm an Aries. You'll hear me say that 1,000 times. And so I knew that I wanted people to see my personality. So I mixed the two loves, and sports broadcasting was first to mind. I've done commentary, but that's not how I started in it. But it was just really, changing my major in college. I had great professors, and then got a job after college after doing all those interns in college. But yeah.
It's difficult in college, too, because you know what you want, and you want the best opportunities. You really want to showcase what you're capable of doing.
Right.
How difficult was it starting out, especially at the University of Tennessee? I feel like there's a decent amount of competition there. It is a big school, but there's also a lot of people that are just going to like fizzle out from it too. So you kind of have to separate yourself from the herd in that sense.
Yeah, I think you're right. Starting off, everybody wants to be at the top, and everybody is in competition, especially at UT, big sports college. A lot of people will disagree, but hey, Peyton Manning, our last championship wasn't since 1998, but that's okay. But yeah, it was a lot of competition with my classmates, and even sometimes, there would be professors that would just be like, "Hey, maybe you should look into meteorology," and things like that. And I was just like, "What? Like, what kind of jab is that?" But I'm the type of person that I really don't care if you doubt me. I'm going to do whatever I want, and I'm going to get to wherever I want. And so I just kept proving people wrong, and being overlooked is just more of a motivator for me. But yeah, I was just overlooked. People were just like, "Oh, she's probably in it for all the wrong reasons. What does she know about sports?" And then I would just surprise people. And it wasn't until my senior year, after I came back from the NBA, I interned with the NBA my junior summer going into senior year. And when I came back from my senior year, it was finally I got that recognition that I really deserved. I feel like, oh, congratulations, you are making big moves. People are putting you on the map. How was the summer in New York City? And it was just like, yeah, where was this when I was with the ESPN my sophomore year, SEC Network, sophomore, junior, and senior year, working with the football team down there, with everybody, Peyton Manning, everybody. And so it was hard, but I think now, even now, they ask me to come back and do things like this and talk to classes and do seminars. And I very much will do it, but I always remind the people I'm talking to, it's just like, not everybody's going to trust and believe in your dream. And you prove people wrong, and don't get discouraged by people doubting you or overlooking you. That's going to happen. It's bound to happen. You're always going to have that chip on your shoulder, so you just got to work it.
That's crazy that they invite you back to talk to students at
Yeah.
24 years old,
Yeah.
which says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been invited back maybe like 5 times now, and I talk to classes, and I host things for them, and all free of charge too. I just do it just on my free time, and I never say no. I mean, that's the college that I love. I love UT, but it wasn't the easiest, but it made me better. And so, not to sound like this, like oh, nothing gets in my way, but it made me better, and it truly like pushed me to go farther. When people were like, maybe you should just focus on meteorology, or maybe you should do behind the scenes, maybe you should be a producer. I was like, I'm going to show you why I'm better than that. And not saying those positions aren't bad. If that's your love, that's your love. But I've always known what I wanted to do. And so I haven't let anybody's judgment, or just because you've been down that road and it didn't work for you, doesn't mean it won't work for me.
Where does that chip on your shoulder come from? Because I know I have it. You obviously have it. Like, not a lot of people have it, though. I'm starting to evidently find out.
Not a lot of people have it. A lot of people act like they have it, but not everybody has it. I grew up with my sister and our 8 cousins in one household. And it was mainly because my mom would be serving in Iraq or Afghanistan. And I'm the youngest out of the 10 of us. I'm the third youngest. And so it just came from my cousins and, my sister, and some of them just didn't make the best decisions. And I knew I had to be the one who set the standard in the family, and push through all the odds that were against me. Being raised in Southside Atlanta, Riverdale, Clayton County, just you see a lot of things, and even as a military brat, places I've lived, you see a lot of people from all walks of life. When I lived in New York City as an intern for the NBA, we would be, returning from work and leaving the train station and, walking to the next train station, or whatever the case may be. And, we would always, me and the other interns would walk past this homeless shelter, and I would see grown men in suit and ties and a briefcase running to make it in line. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I really got to push myself and work hard. And as a woman, I just got to stay focused. I'll be 25 this year, and I'm just like, I got to break the generational curses. I can't lose sight of focus. I just have to make it for my family, and to prove to the next generation of my family that we can do it, and we can make it out, and we can be better.
To play devil's advocate, what are the things, because you say staying focused, not getting distracted, what are the things that would distract you?
I mean, Vegas is a tempting city. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fun that happens here. That's for one. I'm 24. I sometimes can't go out with my friends. I have to stay focused. I have to, It's really a lot of things to stay focused on. But, as a young person, it's like some of us, a lot of my friends from high school, college, are spending their 20s doing what they want to do, and rightfully so, but will pay for those years, partying, going crazy, and, doing whatever in their 30s or 40s. And nothing's wrong with that. More power to you. But it's just like, I'm trying to make a meal before I'm 30. You know what I mean? I'm trying to have a bag and then a wedding ring and then whatever else. But that's like after I get my situation, in order.
Get the stuff that matters in order.
Right.
You're not going to be doing that if you don't have a plan. If you're just working Monday through Friday and then the weekend you're just on the strip doing whatever you want.
Right. But as a young 24-year-old, other 24-year-olds are doing different things, and I'm not mad at you, but I just have a goal and a place where I see at a certain age. And so far I've done just that. I had my sights on Vegas 2 years ago, and I was like, before I'm 25, I'll be in Vegas, and guess where I am? I'll be 25 in April. And so I knew I wanted to work with the NBA one day. I just didn't know it would happen at 21 as an intern, and maybe one day it'll happen again. But hey, at least I have those connections that are very strong, and I still keep in contact with everybody from the NBA. So everything I've said I was going to do, I've been blessed, and it's happened thus far.
Do you ever have people who did doubt you early on come back around and be like, hey, Kay, whether it be like in the DMs or something? I get people like that like all the time. If I interview someone, I'll hear from someone from like high school that I wasn't like even friends with.
Yeah, all the time. Yes. I mean, like I told you, even professors, and they're all like, they're the same ones that are inviting me back. But yeah, and I remember my senior quote in high school, we got to pick our senior quote, and I wanted mine to be, don't believe me, just watch. And it was like Bruno Mars' song had just came out, and everybody teased me about it. And, my friends in high school were mainly just my basketball team. But I remember everyone was just like, don't believe me, just watch, you're lame. And so I didn't use it, and because I was just like embarrassed. I didn't use it, and I ended up choosing You Can't Please Everyone. And but those same people, congrats. My mom still lives in the city I went to high school, and I went to high school in Clarksville, Tennessee, and she still lives there. And she'll run into them working at wherever, and they'll be like, oh, you're Keonta's mom, you're Kay's mom. Oh, yeah, that was my friend. And my mom will be like, I just ran into your friend. I'm like, Mom, I don't have any friends in Tennessee. I don't have any friends. And that's not me just being rude, but it's just like, I don't play those games. It's just like, don't forget how you treated me. And that's how you have to do people. You can't forget how you do people. But yeah, I have those people, and I just try to be as graceful as possible and just be like, thank you. Next.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
My mom will call me up and be like, oh, I just ran into your old friend. I'm like, I don't even know who that is.
Don't even know who it is. Haven't talked to him in like 5-6 years.
No.
If that.
It's like an entirely different lifetime ago. Like Atlanta for you is probably just an entirely different lifetime ago.
Yeah. You know what? That brings me to something. Everybody's always like, do you want to go work back in Atlanta? Or, are you striving to get back to Atlanta? And just how I am, I'm just like, I lived in Atlanta for X amount of years. Like, I'm not craving to get back to where I'm from and to run into people I went to school with and yada, yada, yada. I'm craving to take over different cities. You know what I mean? I'm craving to achieve things in different cities. And then so be it, if I go back to Atlanta at the end of the day, then, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I have no desire to be in Atlanta and be the star of Atlanta and, want to be in the city that I just know so well. I think it's best, and I think people succeed when they get out of their hometown, even if your hometown's Los Angeles or New York City. I think you should always strive to remove yourself from the city that you know so much and that your parents are still in, and just explore. And so, yeah, I just thought about that when you said that.
Now, did you were you desperately trying to get out of that area? I know for me, I was desperately trying to get out of my situation back east. Like, couldn't have asked for a better childhood, but I'm like, I want something different. I need to spark something in me that I've never seen before.
Yes, that's why I came to Las Vegas. I'm from the South. I've lived in the South or the East Coast my entire life, and I had to get out, and I had to try something new. Not saying I'll be in the West Coast forever, but I'm glad I came. I'm glad I've met people here. I'm telling you, if I never came, we would never know each other. You know what I mean? And so I'm glad I came. I'm glad I got these experiences at such a young age. I have time to move around. Even if I was 34, if I want to move around, I'll move around. But specifically while I've been, while I'm still like in my 20s, I want to be able to try out, cities and then be like, okay, that's not for me. Okay, that's not for me. And then guess what? If I go back to Atlanta, like I said, I go back to Atlanta. But yeah, I was desperately trying to get out of the South. I know the South too well. And the South is just this one mindset. I will say the South and the West are two different places. The South has their mindset, especially living in Alabama. That's just the mindset there. And I was just like, I'm a little bit more open-minded, a little bit more free-spirited. And so I just wanted to be in a coast, in a city that I felt like I could just, see how it goes and meet a lot of new people that I've never even been in that mindset before. And Las Vegas has done that for me.
Have you met people, whether it be out here or like in school? Obviously, like you said, the South people are like not stuck in their ways, but like there's a certain mindset there. I knew growing up in Jersey, people still, I go back. It's like going back in a time machine almost. Like it's like, okay, it's 2005 again. People are acting, talking, and doing the same things that they were doing 15 years ago. Right. Do you feel like you've met people out here as a young adult that have really shaped a brand new mentality for you, people with mindsets that you've never seen before growing up?
Yes, of course. I mean, my first week here, my mom helped me move out here, and we stayed in a different resort, and it was just like we saw so much stuff that we've never seen before just coming from the South. It was like I was Hannah Montana or something, you know what I mean? And so that was just like, but it was what I wanted. And so, yeah, I've met plenty of people out here who I'm just like, I've never, ever, ever seen that in the South. That just wouldn't even cross my mind. Like, and just like cool stuff, like, how everything under the sun is legal in Vegas. Like, it's just cool like that, like Vegas is a cool city that's so fast forward, and it's just so, it's moving at a fast pace that places I've lived before, Montgomery, Alabama, Clarksville, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, and just other places just they're not moving that fast. And New York City, I told you I love New York City because it's so, like, you're moving fast. You meet so many people. I love the diversity in New York City. I just hate the cold. I hate the cold. Yeah. And so I moved to Vegas also for warm weather. So, this cold weather is not what I like. But yeah, Vegas and the people here, I love the mentality. That's what I love the most about Vegas is just how everybody is just like, what's next? They're thinking about, 2035 rather than, 1950. And, what's happened then, they're worried about the future.
Well, the best thing about Vegas or Phoenix or LA, just the West Coast in general, is that everybody comes from all over the place. Yeah. You have your people that have been there for 25, 30 years. They grew up there, but you also have people from Chicago. You have people from Jersey, from Atlanta, from Queens, everybody's all over the place. And then you get to interact with people that I grew up 45 minutes from you. Yeah. And I don't even consider that like, a small world moment because like people are looking to get out and experience new things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the amount of tourists in Las Vegas, and now that I'm a Las Vegas local, I kind of understand like, tourists to locals, and I'm like living as a local, and it's been cool. But I haven't been to Phoenix or LA yet, but I can't wait to go. But that's what I love about, it's like a big bowl of just everything, and everybody's included, and everybody feels included. That's the main point. And so when I came to Vegas, I don't feel like I stick out, or my mindset, I don't feel like I stick out. I'll give you this example. When I worked in Alabama, I remember, like, you see my eyelashes. Y'all see my eyelashes. I remember a viewer, and it happened multiple times, but I remember a viewer, I'm a reporter. I remember a viewer was like, you are, going, where because of your eyelashes. I remember one of my coworkers wore leather one time, and, it's the Bible Belt, and that's just how it is. Like, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, they're the Bible Belt, and it's fine. But I just couldn't be in that mindset. It was just so boxed in, and I'm an out-of-the-box girl, and I'm always going to do whatever I want, and I'm going to wear my eyelashes, and my nails are going to be 1,000, inches long, and that's just how I am. That's Kay McCabe, and Kay McCabe wouldn't be Kay McCabe without being Kay McCabe. So, I just had to get out and, meet some people, and that's exactly what Vegas does for me. Everybody has, like, an open mindset, and I adore it.
So who were the people specifically, whether it be people in your family growing up that you saw, because we talked about having that chip on your shoulder earlier, who were some of the mentors that you looked up to, whether it be on television, at school, et cetera, et cetera?
Okay, first, obviously, my mom. My mom is, she's sacrificed so much for me and my family being in Iraq, Afghanistan, just came back from Kuwait a year and a half ago. So I adore her and her work ethic. She's one of the hardest workers I know, so she's the reason why I push so hard. But outside of family, my mentor right now is LaChana Robinson. She's a analyst for the NBA and WNBA. Taylor Rooks is my girl. Haven't been able to meet her, but I love all the sports girls, specifically Maria Taylor, Taylor Rooks, like I said. But growing up, I was a huge Kobe Bryant fan, and Kobe Bryant's poise is what I love so much, and I try to mimic it in a way. It's just how he can take a bad situation and be so poised and have grace with it. Rest his soul, but I love just how he just did a lot of work and.
Just very aware
and just himself, and how he would be with his teammates. Some people would disagree with it and not like it and say he was too rough or hard on his teammates, but it made them better. And so a lot of my friends call me the tough love friend. A lot of my family says, you should ease up, not everybody can be like you. But I'm like, if you want whatever you want, you need to go get it. And if you sleep on yourself, I'm going to point it out. You know what I mean? And so Kobe Bryant and then the rest of the people.
Wouldn't you prefer to be surrounded by people like that? I hate it when people are too soft on me. It's like, oh, then I don't really consider you a real friend almost. I feel like a real friend, a real confidant would get in my face if there was something,
Yeah, I don't have any friends that, how can I put this? I don't have any friends that aren't doing what I'm doing. And let me explain that to you. All my friends are successful because they put themselves out there. I don't have any friends that sit at home and wait for opportunities to come to them. I like to surround myself with like-minded people. Now, every once in a while, if my friends get discouraged or whatever, it's okay to take an off day or to have me time, or, if a tragic situation happens, it's okay to take a step back. But all the people in my life that I surround myself, my circle is very tight. And everyone in my circle, strives for whatever goal that is that they have. Now, everybody's goal may look different. I got a friend in IT, Gabby. I could care less about IT, but she made six figures out of college, and she strives. We met at the NBA. She was an IT intern, and just the places she's been since then. And we graduated at the same time, 2020, and it's only been 2-3 years later. And I mean, she's doing her thing, and she's in IT. Our careers don't align at all, but I look up to her because she's going so hard in her career. And so, yeah, I like to, surround myself with like-minded people. I don't have too many stranglers in my circle.
Yeah, they don't have to be doing exactly what you're doing, but everybody's got to have that same similar like-minded mentality.
Just the maturity. Yeah. Just have that maturity, and even if you don't have a job, even if something happened and you lost your job or whatever the case may be. Don't sit around for 6 months and just do nothing. You know what I mean? Then I'm going to have to question you, and I'm not going to disfriend you or anything like that. But, we're going to have that talk. But yeah, I have friends that all my circle, all my people are doing the same thing as far as striving for their goals and making it work for them.
It's funny you mentioned Kobe. Did you see Stephen A. Smith on Howard Stern the other day?
No.
So Kobe Bryant, again, aware, very intuitive, right?
Right.
Where I feel like most players don't mess with the media. They don't like doing interviews. It's not the thing that they should be focusing on at the end of the day, right? Most of them don't.
Right.
Where Kobe Bryant, I feel like I think Stephen A. Smith was telling a few different stories of where he was saying Kobe was too selfish on offense and doing certain things. Kobe Bryant, everybody kind of had that same analysis about him.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately, as soon as they were off the air, he'd have 3 or 4 missed calls from Kobe. He's just call me back when you get a chance. We need to talk.
Wow.
Because he's always watching.
Right.
The guy's got eyes in the back of his head, the side of his head. He's always
aware.
Whether it be writing. I mean, the guy won an Oscar,
Right.
2 years after he retired. Nobody does that, right?
Right.
Just, 4 or 5-time NBA champion, obviously. Just the captain of that entire team.
Right.
Everything that he was able to do, especially even coaching Gianna for all those years. She was primed and ready to be
writing books.
Writing books.
Right. Yeah.
Gianna was 13 years old?
She was 13 when she passed, yeah.
So it's and people can make all the assumptions in the world that she was going to be a great, athlete one day, great
Right.
basketball player,
Mm-hmm.
because Kobe and Tracy McGrady put in the work
Mm-hmm.
for, their kids
Mm-hmm.
at that gym and for their teams. But it just goes to show, if everybody looks at him like he was Superman, right? But
Right.
if he can do it, I think anybody else in the world could
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Yeah.
We're all given these specific tools, these specific skills,
Right.
these specific desires in our
Right.
heads that make us do what we want to do. And you talk about, not really giving two F's about what anybody thinks and
Right.
going after your dream no matter what.
Right.
Everybody has that inside them. It's just,
Right.
are you going to let fear stand in the way?
Right, right. And that'd be crazy to let fear stand in the way. But what you just mentioned about Kobe was him keeping himself busy but keeping himself busy in things that actually matter and pertain to his career. Um, a lot of people talk about who's the GOAT, LeBron, Michael or Kobe. And we won't get into that topic. But the difference between, Kobe, and I'll say Michael, won't really say LeBron, but, Michael was kind of the laid back one. Now, Michael's, to me, the best player to ever play in the game.
I don't even think it's a debate.
It's not. And so, but I wasn't around when Michael was playing, but Michael was, from what I see, is a little bit more laid back. Kobe kind of put himself out there, like you said, calling Stephen A. Smith. And it's so interesting that you bring up that topic about him being selfish on the courts, because Kobe knew at the end of the day, I'm gonna make the last shot if it comes down to it. And that mentality is, sometimes people don't understand it and they don't get it. Me being an Aries, we're one of the most disliked zodiacs, and that's fine. But we have a mentality where it's just like, at the end of the day, we know we're gonna get it done. Like I tell my mom, at the end of the day, I'll get it done, and she knows I will. And there's no debate about it. If there's a task, and like me getting to Vegas, or when I was applying for colleges and getting my own scholarships, like I didn't have help. My mom was in Iraq, my mom was in Afghanistan. And, me and all my cousins living with my grandmother. My grandmother has, her job to worry about, and then 1,000 other cousins and people living under one roof. And so everything I've done, I had to do it by myself. Me getting to the NBA, I did that by myself, as an intern. And I was 2021 when I got that position. Me getting to Vegas, I did it by myself. I don't have an agent. I don't have, people helping me. I've done everything by myself. And so that selfish mentality, or the selfish word, I almost hate to call it selfish, but it's just like, okay, at the end of the day, we know we'll get it done, and Kobe had that. And like I said, I try to mimic a lot of things he does, keeping himself busy. I try to, whatever community I live in, try to get out, whether it's through my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, or anything I do, I just put myself out there and get things done and try to stay as busy as possible.
Now, you being as focused as you are, being a part of a sorority at the University of Tennessee, what's that like?
Yeah. So I am part of Alpha Kappa Alpha. It's part of the Divine Nine. I crossed in spring 2019. Basically, that means you just joined the sorority. But that was my junior year. Fun times. But like you said, like trying to stay focused, because there is when you get into a sorority and you're the new one on the block, of course you want to be out and about everywhere. But I crossed late into my junior year. And so junior year is hard time to be, leaving college. You got to focus junior year. If you haven't already focused, you need to focus. Let me tell you a quick story about my college. A lot of people don't know, and I'm actually putting myself on the spot. My freshman year, my first semester of freshman year, I partied so much. Kid you not, it's a true story. I partied so much, and I was out going crazy, yada, yada. I ended that semester with a 1.8 GPA, and I was on academic probation. No lie, true story. And my whole family was like, dang, we had faith in you. Like, why'd you do us like this? And I felt like, dang, I really let down my people. Kid you not, right after that, I was like, mindset is changed. Like right when my mom and grandmother was like, we're disappointed in you. That's all they had to say. And so next semester it rose to like a 3.5. I ended up graduating with a 3.6. But right after that freshman year, first semester, by the time you're senior, you already done been to all the parties and you already know what it's like.
Exactly.
And so joining the sorority, it really didn't change anything. I think I was pretty well known on campus already by just doing what I've been doing, and just having the personality I have. But, if anybody didn't know me, they probably knew me then. But it didn't make me any different. That summer, I went into the NBA, did my thing at the NBA, came out my senior year. Already told you about my senior year. I ended up becoming a mentor with LaChina Robinson. She works for ESPN. I'm sure you've seen her, or she's always
Yeah.
on every game. But she had us at the Hawks game. She had us at the Falcons game. All Atlanta teams, we were right there, me and her. She only picks 5 people a year, 5 women a year to be a mentor, a mentee under her program. And so I was the youngest chosen. I was 21, and I was out there and focused. And you ask LaChina any day, she'll be like, Kiaja surprises me. And we just had our graduation from the program back in August, and I flew out to Atlanta. And she was just like, Kiaja, everything you said that you wanted to do. And she met me when I was 21. She said, everything you said you wanted to do, you're doing. And I'm just like, and I've been blessed. And I never brag about it in a bad way. But when I brag about it and when I talk to the young women I'm mentoring, I'm just like, that's because, like, not only did I pray about it, not only did I have a vision on it, I worked towards it. And, there's been opportunities that I've wanted that haven't come my way. But the big goals, I'm proud to say, the big goals have happened.
And that's part of playing the game, too.
It is.
Having opportunities, at least like scenarios in your head of like, oh, this would be great if this project worked out. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't happen. Or at least not when you want it to happen.
Right.
I've started projects like years down the road from when I originally was excited about them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, it's cool, but it's not as cool as I would have been 3 years ago, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, like the pandemic was a shocker for everybody. And so graduating in the pandemic wasn't ideal, obviously. And taking a news job in Alabama wasn't ideal. And it's not what I wanted. Of course, like we talked about coming out of college, everybody wants to be at the top because everybody thinks they worked for it. And I'm glad I was humbled, and I'm glad I started small, and I'm glad my dreams weren't handed to me like that. And I'm glad I had to work for it. And if people are handed their dreams on a silver platter, congratulations, more power to you. But I'm glad my route took the stairs instead of the elevator.
That's a great analogy. I think people who get it, quote unquote, handed to them or, just came easier, they're not going to have the same poise and mentality later on to keep going.
It's bound to happen, unfortunately. That's why you see a lot of people, like, if their kids come from money, you see a lot of documentaries. You're like, well, I wanted my kids to have hand-me-downs, even though they could be rich living in like a 9-bedroom house with 10 bathrooms. I adore those parents and those people who are just like, I still want my kids to know what work is and to know what, getting your hands dirty is. And that's adorable. And so I didn't come from money. And, we weren't poor or anything like that, very just middle class. But, I come from a family where I'm the first to graduate from my college, including with all my sister and all my cousins. I'm the first one to, and the only one to go to college and finish and do what I'm doing as far as in a career.
And that's something you got to take great pride in, too.
For sure.
Right? And again, I've known people that come from money that, they come from money. And I've known people that come from money and get it, quote unquote, handed to them that are the nicest people in the world,
Yeah.
I just think having that experience prior to getting everything that you hoped for, knowing that it may never come.
Yeah.
That's how you are ultimately grateful for everything that you went through and everything that's going to be given to you moving forward.
I think the kids call it get it out of the mud.
The kids we're 24 years old. We are kids.
Okay. We call it get it out the mud.
I've never heard that phrase
You
before.
never heard getting out the mud?
Nope.
Maybe a Southern thing. No, getting out the mud just means
Oh, that's definitely a Southern thing.
Yeah, getting out the mud just means like, what Drake say, start from the bottom, now we're here. You know what I mean? Like, just like, really working for whatever you're working for. And just, not people just handing it to you. But more power to you if it's like that easy. I'm not mad at you. I think the biggest competition as far as you and I may be, as far as like sports reporting and sports broadcasting, a lot of the opportunities go to who? Previous and former athletes. I always tell people the biggest competition aren't other reporters or other analysts or whatever. It's these athletes coming out and then, retiring or retiring from college or something like that. And I'm just like, they'll get the job quicker than I am and more power to them. But I'm a hard worker. I don't like to be overlooked either. So I'm just going to work that much harder, you know what I mean, and get to where I want to be. But yeah.
I mean, there's people with amazing personalities coming out of sports. Like Shaquille O'Neal, you knew when he was playing. Like, he's going to make a great on-air talent when he's done, right? But then you look at, like, we mentioned Stephen A. Smith earlier. That guy literally lived on, like, Kool-Aid and rice for 5-10 years just to do whatever they offered him.
Yep.
He's like, I'll take whatever you want. He came from literally, I think he once said this in an interview. He came from the sewage all the way to the top of the mountain in what he does.
Yeah.
And now you see him everywhere
Yep.
on ESPN and the NBA.
Yep. Yeah. I have a couple friends like that. Zora Stevenson, she is the team reporter for the Milwaukee Bucks. Killing the game. Also doing some work with the USFL. She's doing work everywhere. NBC Sports, killing the game, right? But she started like me, started in a small market as a news reporter, went up to Denver as a news reporter still. Then the Milwaukee Bucks called her up, and she's killing the game. And so a lot of people start from the mud. Robin Roberts, starting off, now she's with Good Morning America.
Yep.
But started off small, then she worked her way into sports. A lot of people don't know she did sports broadcasting first before she got to Good Morning America. But a lot of people have different journeys. A lot of people, take different paths to the top. But as long as you get to the top, as long as you reach whatever top you want to get to, like as long as you get to where you want to go, like if some people's stopping point is to be a reporter right here in Vegas, if that is your dream, you know what I mean? More power to you. If someone's dream was to be a news desk anchor in Montgomery, Alabama, a lot of my coworkers there haven't left in 10, 20 years. That's them, and I don't judge anybody for it. But, where I want to go,
So what is the end game for you? Like, I don't think you can necessarily, like, pinpoint. Like, you can in your head. You could design it and
Right.
hopefully you manifest that one day. But I think it's very hard from a mentality standpoint to say, this is exactly what I want and then not veer off from it. Because you could end up disappointed in the end. But, like,
Right.
what's kind of the... Because at the same time, you can't have vague goals either. Because vague goals get vague results. But what's the plan, anyways, for you?
Man, it's actually changed so much. And that's luckily what college is all about. I think being in your 20s is all about. We're not supposed to have all the answers right now. We're not supposed to know exactly what will be 20 years from now. A lot of people are like, where do you want to be in 5 years? And I'm just like, that's such an interesting question because 5 years ago, I was like, oh, I want to be like an actress or whatever when I was first starting off college or whatever. Right now I can say I know I have a passion for hosting. I have a passion for the entertainment scene. That's why I moved here to Vegas, and I have a passion for sports. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if I'll be sidelining a game. I don't know if I'll be hosting a red carpet for the ESPYs or whatever the case may be. But I know that my passion is in TV. I know I have goals of reaching network status. I don't know if that works for specifically like BET or ESPN or I love Bleacher Report. I love what Taylor Brooks does at Bleacher Report. She kills the game. But I don't know what it looks like, but I just know that I'm not done.
That's honestly the best answer anybody could give because it's like, I don't really know what's next, but I know I have like a ton of ideas in my head as opposed to being like, I want to be an anchor on ESPN Los Angeles one day, because like I grew up watching Michael Kay called New York Yankee games. I'm like, oh, being the broadcaster of the New York Yankees would be amazing. Nobody's getting that job.
Right.
And whoever is getting that job is already working for that network, you know? They have their people lined up. So you really have to be like, okay, what can I do? Like, oh, I'd love to be a play-by-play broadcaster for a baseball team. Keep it as simple as that, or else you're kind of going to limit yourself.
Right. All I know is that whatever I do next is going to be that much greater. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to put things like, oh, it's going to be better than this. Like, I hate to put things in that sense, but it's just like I always elevate. I don't ever go backwards. And so I'm just going to keep climbing the stairs and do what I do best. And so, yeah, whatever I do, it's just going to be elevated to my next level.
What's the most unique thing or project that you've worked on so far in your career? And, like, what's something that you'd want to do? So, not something necessarily that you could say, oh, that would be amazing to do, but something kind of, like, weird and unique to be like, oh, I'm really glad I got that opportunity.
Let me think about your first question, but to answer your second question, something interesting I've always wanted to do, it would probably go into acting. I would love, actually, I would love to be on like a Netflix show. I think Netflix shows are so cool, like The Circle.
What genre?
Like just like reality game show, like The Circle is like my favorite, and just do something wild and something fun. Like that's not wild, but just like, something out of what I do, still on the lines of like TV or whatever, but just like, not like reporting or anything like that, just having fun and possibly win some money or something. But that would be something crazy and interesting and different other than like acting one day, maybe like, being on a show or even playing a reporter on a show or a movie would be cool. What was the first question again?
I don't remember.
Me neither.
You said you were in theater, right?
I was. I've
Did
been
you
in a
do
lot of
any?
plays.
Did you do any short films?
I've been in plays, live plays on like stage.
Those have to be the most difficult thing in the world. I mean, I've done a lot of short films, especially in college, just as an actor. You know, people your friends ask you who want to get into directing and stuff, and I'm like, this is 12 times harder than what I thought it was going to be. I've done acting, I've done stand-up comedy, I've done even this is still hard, like 600 episodes in, right? Like it's not as easy as it looks.
Right.
So I could only imagine being up on stage in front of X amount of people doing a play.
Yeah, I mean, I've done plays, and in high school we had these things in theater that we would like do lip sync shows, and I did it every year. We would be in a lip sync show, but I think when I first started off, and it was always hard, remembering lines, and then the pressure of being in front of like hundreds of people definitely is different than what we do now. But I think that made me so much better as a reporter. And when I do live shots, I'm not remembering lines. Like if there's breaking news and I'm doing a live shot, it's more so like, okay, here's the facts, here's the information I have. Okay, boom, you're live now. There's no mess ups. Live TV is live TV. If you mess up, that's just how it's gonna have to go. And so it's kind of like ad-libbing in theater, and when we would do just a lot of ad-libbing and whatever else. But I think when I was doing it, I was so young. I was like 16, 14, whatever, however old I was. But it was just, it was fun, and it was more so an adrenaline rush for me as far as, like, I liked it. I like being under pressure. I like being in front of crowds. I like people showing my personality or showing my personality to people. But it was always hard. It was always tough. Everything you do in life is going to be tough, I feel like. But it was a passion of mine. I really liked it. And I think now, if anybody was like being in a play, I'd probably tell them no. I would love to do more so like pre-recorded work. Exactly. You know what I mean? And then like if I mess up my lines, then you can go from there. But when I was on stage, if you mess up your lines, it was just like, well, that's the key. You gotta like make sure people don't know, because a lot of people like when I'm on air, I'll call my mom. She always watch all my shows. I'll be like, oh, you saw me mess up? She's like, when? And you don't, only. When you mess up, and you point it out, and she'd be like, I would have never noticed. And I'm like, dang, okay, I shouldn't have pointed out. So now I know my lesson. But on stage, when I was doing the theater, it's like people only know if you like, oh no, I just messed up, and show that you just messed up. So that's the key. That's what I learned. You gotta just keep going.
Roll with the punches and adapt, right?
Roll with the punches.
It's like happy accidents.
Exactly.
Especially when you're on stage doing that. So to put a bow on this,
yes,
Kay McCabe, who do you want to be known as, like, not just from a professional standpoint, because obviously I think we kind of touched on what you want to do moving forward with your career, at least your vision, not everything, but some things. Who do you want to be known as when it's like all said and done, when it comes to your friends, your family, people that were mentored by you, people that you mentored, or people that, were mentors to you?
Right.
Who do you want to be known as?
I think Kay wants to be known as, and Kiaja, two mixed into one. But just someone who really tried her best. And I have a big personality. A lot of people don't understand me. But I love people. I love what I do. I have a good heart. I always try to do things with the purest mind and the purest heart. But someone who just tried her best, even if I don't reach all my goals, or if I don't reach my goals till I'm 55 or 65. Just someone who didn't give up, someone who loves you, someone who just cares for people. But really, as far as just like who I want to be known as, is just I'm a hardworking woman, and just trying to prove that young minority women like myself, who have a chip on their shoulder. I don't play, sports anymore. I didn't play college basketball, but I can do anything, and I can do it just as well as any other my competition, any other athlete, anybody. So, when I do reach that height that I want to get to, and hopefully it's done where I see myself getting it done at, hopefully people would just be like, she did it with grace. She was kind to people. She didn't, she wasn't rude to anybody. I just try to be myself, I'm a cool person. I like to kick it with people and just have fun.
You speak from the heart. I'd say out of a lot of the interviews that I've done, like you're one of the very few I feel like speaks from the heart and you get genuine answers and you just see the vision.
I try, I try, but I've had like a cool life so far. Not too hard, not too crazy. I don't like to make up stuff. People like to put more chips on their shoulder than actual things going on in their life. But I just, I'm a cool person. I'm Kay.
Well, I appreciate Cool K McCabe coming on the show today. Guys, if you want to check out this interview, head on over to @JackO'Hara TV on our YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. This was episode 604. Check it out. And then they stopped recording.
Oh, how cool. Was I okay? Antoine and
You were great. They're not going to tell you otherwise.
Okay, I would like to know.
They just start critiquing you.
Oh.